Armenian Council for the purpose of to plan, coordinate, and direct all charitable, political, religious, cultural activities in Southern California, which require the complete cooperation and participation of all the Armenians. And that's important. Only those functions that require, to be successful, the participation of all the Armenians in Southern California. Now, a while back, and more than once perhaps, there were thoughts or propositions to organize the whole diaspora throughout the world, not just Los Angeles. I wish we could start from the top and get down to the bottom, but I don't think that is possible at this time. I think we need to take small steps. The first step is to get our local people organized. If we are successful, and if we are clever enough to convince all the various organizations to unite, maybe we can set the example for the rest of the world, and ultimately maybe expand this to include the diaspora. But the very first step is try doing this locally. For the United Council to be successful and effective, obviously it has to include participation of all the major organized groups in Southern California. I'm going to name the ones that I know who are organized, and there might be others. I don't want to exclude anybody. The invitation, if we ever get there, would include anyone, any organized community, any organized group to join the council. But initially, I think we would start with our religious groups. The Western Diocese of the Armenian Church of North America, the Western Prelacy of the Apostolic Church of Armenia, Armenian Catholic Church of America, and Armenian Evangelical Union of North America. We will invite the three benevolent organizations, the Armenian General Benevolent Union, Armenian Relief Society of Western United States, and Armenian Missionary Association of America. Then the four political organizations, Armenian Revolutionary Federation, the Tashnak Party, Hunchakian Social Democratic Party, the Armenian Democratic Liberal Party, Rangavars, and Armenian Assembly of America. Now, as I said, these are the organized bodies that have the board to whom we can approach and ask them to appoint a representative on the council. There are other people, like my friend says, there are many, many people outside of these groups. There's no way we can invite them not knowing who they are, who is their head, who they report to. We can't have a general election, it would be impossible and too costly. But any organization, in addition to these that I have mentioned, can be invited. Now, I left the Hayr-i-Naqtsagan organizations because there are really too many of them. I wish someday the compatriotic unions could get organized. At one time, there was such an effort, and there was an occasional meeting of this group, but it didn't last. It kind of disappeared. If they do get organized, it would be nice to have representatives from the United Armenian Compatriotic Unions, if you get my drift. Now, how do we get these, how many of these organizations, how many representatives and alternates and so on? I will talk about that a little bit later. Let me only say this at this point, that each one of the organizations participating in this union will have 1 or 2 representatives, or 3, if that's what everybody wishes, and maybe 1 or 2 alternates in case the ones who are actual representatives cannot make a meeting. Excuse me a minute. I visualize that this council will have at least 4 regular meetings every year, once every quarter. Now they can, with mutual consent or agreement, have more meetings as frequently as necessary. The council will have to elect a chairman, a vice chairman, a secretary, and a treasurer. The bylaws or the articles of incorporation, which I'll come to a little bit later, will spell all of this out. Maybe the terms of these officers could be a couple of years, or it could be longer, depending on the wishes of all the participants, or it could be just 1 year. But more importantly, since we don't have enough money to start with, we don't have a place to call home, I kind of think that the home office of the organization, whose representative is the current chairman of the board of the council, will call the meetings at the home office building or location until such time as when we find a benevolent donor who would come forward with enough money to buy a place of our own or have a building and donate it to us to use it or temporarily use it, etc. This council will have the, like any other organization, will have subcommittees. I can name just a few for an example, not necessarily the only ones. For instance, the Armenia Fund could be a subcommittee of the council. The Armenia Fund is responsible to annually raise funds or goods and materials to be sent to Armenia on a terotan, on Thanksgiving Day, as you all know. It requires the total participation of all the Armenians, not just one group or the other, but all of the Armenians, exactly like what it is desired. A Genocide Commemoration Committee, the same way, does really require the total participation of all the Armenians.